It really is a privilege to be here. My name's Jonathan Pollinger. I don't know a lot about IVF, but I do know about social media, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about this morning. Social media can be pretty scary, and hopefully you won't be looking like this in about half an hour's time. You'll be a little bit calmer. I think this photo can teach us quite a lot, and I'll be referring to it at the end of the session. So, what I'm going to be talking about is a brief sort of social media overview, what it's about, what makes it different from traditional forms of marketing like advertising, and really what are the key thing is what are its benefits, how it can really be of value to your clinics. Then we're going to specifically look at Facebook and Twitter. Throughout the session, I'm going to be referring to a few real examples that are out there of clinics that are using Facebook and Twitter. Going to be a few tips along the way, some real take-homes for you to action, and going to finish off by looking at a few useful tools that'll make the whole social media thing a bit easier for you. So, social media, the defining characteristic is the fact that it's very much about conversation. It's unlike advertising or even a website where it's there you have a one-way communication channel. Social media is two-way with old style, what I would call old style marketing methods like an advert, say, on the TV or in a magazine. There is no opportunity for your audience, the people that you're talking to respond. They just aren't able to do that unless they jump on another sort of channel, unless they phone you or unless they email you. But within the context of a magazine advert, an advert on the radio or TV, that's just not possible. Social media all changes that from one way to two-way, and that's really what makes it interesting. That makes it possible to have a conversation with your potential patients, potential customers, and also existing customers, which is really important for customer services, advice, and keeping them on side. So it's not about bulldozing people into submission. It's not about a hard sell and being really forceful. It's more subtle than that. It's about engagement and about conversation. And to make it work, the key point is to put your audience first. Very, very important. Not to consider your messages from your point of view, but to think about what it is that your audience want to hear. What is the benefit for them? And that's actually quite a hard thing to do. But if you can get that right, social media can be really effective and very, very powerful. So putting your audience first. There was quite a lot of conversation yesterday from yesterday's speakers about putting the patient first, and it's the same principle. Social media is not called social media by accident, so it is very much about people. It is about the audience. It works because you can talk to them as doctors, as clinics, but they can also talk back to you, but they can also, crucially, talk amongst themselves. They can make recommendations to other patients and other people, and that can be a really powerful form of marketing. In England, we say the best way to get business is by word of mouth, and what you can do on social networks is basically have an online word of mouth. They're a very good communication mechanism for people to make recommendations to other people. So to kind of break that down a bit and to sort of try and show you how to make it work, make these social networks work, which we'll be looking at shortly, it's about engagement, getting people on side. That's putting your audience first, finding out what their buzz points are, if you like, what really motivates them, what is of interest to them. If you can do that, if you can engage them, then they will interact with you, and that will create awareness. So, for example, if we were talking about Facebook, then if they're commenting on your page, if they're putting posts on your page, or even if they're doing that initial like of the page, that's all really positive stuff because it's interaction, and interaction on social networks gets you noticed. On Twitter, which we'll come on to, if you don't understand terms like retweet, I'll be explaining that. But on Twitter, that's basically the interaction there would be a retweet. People will pass your message onto other people. So engagement leads to interaction. That gets you noticed, raises awareness, puts you in front of people that perhaps you wouldn't normally be able to get in front of. And in business terms, that can give you sales. And in the terms of a clinic, it can bring you more patients. So there's three words. If there's just sort of one thing from this talk of mine today that I'd like you to take away, it's three words, and I think it's kind of like what I call a social media mantra. It's a rule set again to make things work. And the first of those words is listen, because if we're going to have a conversation with our patients or prospective patients, then really important to listen. Just the same in face-to-face when you're at an event like this, for example, you do need to listen to people when you're talking to them. And if we look at how companies are actually doing this, this is a photograph taken in Dell's offices in California, and I mean, it looks like something out of NASA, doesn't it? And it's kind of scarily named almost Social Media Listening Command Center. Very grand. And what's happening here is that they're monitoring tools and networks like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, for terms relating to their business, so terms like Dell Computers, industry terms like computers, servers, hardware, so they can see what people are talking about. They can literally listen into those conversations. It's not, it's not spying. All this information is open and out there, and that can be of huge value to a business. If it wasn't, Dell wouldn't have created this office to do this. So they will be getting value in the sense they'll be getting feedback from existing customers on how they're finding their products, whether they're finding them useful or not. And that will be both positive and negative, but then they can choose how to react with that. But they can also get leads, and they'll get a huge amount of business in this way, because they will be able to spot conversations with people asking questions about computers, and they'll be able to answer those questions. They can be helpful, and then when it comes the time for a business or a person to buy the next computer, then if they've established that relationship and made it strong enough, then they'll purchase from Dell. So it can be quite a powerful thing, and very worthwhile doing. Or to put it another way, in simple terms, there are people talking about your clinics, and scary as it may seem, I said social media can be a scary thing, people talking about you out there on social networks. So it kind of makes sense to be aware of that, and to know about that conversation and what is being said. So the second word is connect. Very important part of establishing that initial relationship with a prospective customer. On Facebook, that would be obtaining a like. That's really the first step of a relationship. And on Twitter, that's obtaining a follower. Both those things help you build your audience. And next step is engage, is really to engage with them, to provide your customers or your patients with value. So those three words again: listen, connect, and engage. And this rule set applies to pretty much all social networks and any social media situation. Follow those rules, and you will find that the tools do work for you. So specifically coming on to the value, the objectives, what you can use tools like Facebook and Twitter for. What is the point of all of this? Well, you can engage with your patients with your clinic and your services. You can tell them about what it is that you do. You can provide valuable advice and get them involved. If you run events like drop-in events, open house events, or perhaps even workshops and courses, you can spread the word using social media, and we'll look at specifically how you can do that a bit later, and increase the number of attendees at those events. For your existing patients, you can provide customer services because, as we said, it's very much about conversation. It's two-way communication, so you've got the ability to answer people's questions and really be there for them. Very similar in the sense that Aitai was talking about the live chat on websites. It's the same sort of concept. You can be there for your patients and you can respond to them. If you have a newsletter, and I believe this will probably be talked about later on in the conference, the value of having a regular newsletter out to your patients, then you can encourage signups because you could put a sign-up form on your Facebook page, or you could put a link from Twitter to the sign-up form on your Facebook page or on your website and encourage more people to subscribe to your newsletter. You can drive engaged visitors to your website or blog. Twitter in particular, very good for driving traffic. People do click the links on Twitter and Facebook if they're relevant and they think that there's value at the end of the link, and they will then visit your website as a result of that. And key sort of word here, engaged. They're not just visitors that are coming in from Google or because they found you in some sort of directory. If you've been through the listen, connect, and engage process and you've kind of, they are warm clients, if you like, or warm potential clients, then you've started that relationship with them. So by the time they get to your website, there's a fair chance that they'll do something. Perhaps they'll then take the step to book an appointment or contact you. So engage visitors to your website. You can obtain valuable feedback and data from patients. You can simply ask them questions. You can do that in the form of surveys, polls, or just simply one-off questions on Facebook and Twitter and gain valuable insights into what it is that they're thinking. You can very much keep up with the competition. You know, the social media stuff, it's all still very new. Not everybody is using it, and doing a bit of research, it was actually quite hard to find examples amongst IVF clinics that are using Facebook and Twitter. Not many of you are yet, so it can definitely give you a leg up on the competition, particularly if you're doing it properly, and particularly if you're getting results and benefits such as these. And finally, you can create a community around your clinic. Something that was touched on yesterday. Communities can be very powerful, and you can use these tools to do that, to get basically a body of people that are so enthusiastic and fired up about your clinic and about your services that they will talk about that. They'll talk about that to people face to face, but they'll also talk about it across their social networks.